Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 13, episode 2, and today we're back for the first game of the Premier League season against Liverpool, having had a busy summer transfer window, which we reviewed in the last episode. If you haven't seen that one yet, I do urge you to go back and check it out, even more so than in previous years, because it was such a busy summer in the transfer market, particularly in terms of ins, and there were quite a few legends we had to say farewell to as well. We also had some action off the pitch as well, but we're going to have quite a few debutants in the team today, so if you want to know a bit more about them, then go back and check out the last episode. But for this one, we're just trying to cause a shock on the first day of the season. We're really trying to push towards the top half this year after a couple of seasons of mid-table mediocrity. We've never been involved in a relegation battle, which is absolutely remarkable, and Pep Guardiola's Liverpool will be trying to put us down there today with a comfortable win on the first day of the season. Unlike previous years where we've gone defensive to the big sides, particularly away from home, I'm not going to do that today. I believe we've got a side that can compete in many areas, and as we try to establish our best 11 with the 2 or 3 remaining positions up for grabs, we'll hope that we'll be able to put in a display with everyone trying their hardest to stay in the team. Liverpool are missing a few players today, including Kelby Carrick, who we tried to sign last summer. Unfortunately it didn't work as he opted for Liverpool, and we can't really blame him at the time, and even now Liverpool are still by far the bigger club. Before we get into the game, we have got a couple of things to look at. Firstly, we're going to go to the competition to see where the media expect us to finish this year. The transfer window's finished now, so we'll get a true reflection of what they expect, and they're expecting us to be comfortable in 14th, having predicted relegation in the previous 2 years. So the media are finally learning and believing that we're good enough, which is quite a nice compliment. If we go to our dynamic screen, one of the problems we had with some of the sales this year is we did lose all of our team leaders at the time, but a couple of others have stepped up quite nicely, and as a result we've still got some leaders in the squad. Lee Rutherford, our key goal scorer, and Daniel Kozzel, who's been so influential from the wing. Obviously Allingham looks like he's on his way out, so he's going to be leaving a gap in the squad there, but there's plenty of highly influential players ready to step up, and I'm sure they will over the next year or two. And the last bit of off-the-pitch news we've got to mention, we did talk towards the end of the last episode about our mentoring groups, just because we'd brought in a left-back who didn't have the best personality. So we've got a few of our youngsters working in a group now, all of the familiar names from last year, Hassan, Probert and Duncan, alongside Lidio, the new left-back. And then we've got a couple of our influential players, Daniel Kozzel, who's fairly determined, and the resolute Recchio and Hayes, working alongside them to try and develop them. We want to get their personalities to at least fairly determined or fairly professional, and if we can do that, it'll give them all a far better chance at developing to their potential. Lidio's unambitious, so just getting him back to balance would be great, and to up his determination by a few attribute points, as it's currently all the way down on 3. But let's get into this first game of the season. Liverpool, I'm sure, have been busy in the transfer market. Let's go and compare their finances to ours. I'd argue this is probably the first year we've spent a Premier League amount, and then I've just looked at Liverpool's screen and we most certainly haven't. They spent £146 million on a player, signing him from Premier League champions Arsenal, after we were talking about spending 82 on our entire squad. One of those was 46 million, and they've signed another player for more than that as well. So Andres Sandoval, who played very well against us in the FA Cup final, he's a world-class central midfielder, one of the best about, and he's gone there for nearly 150 million, and I'm not quite sure how we compete with that. But let's go and have a look at our lineup for today, focus on ourselves. We're heavy underdogs and we might have to go more defensive later on, but I'm sticking with my attacking mentality to start with. So we're going to try and control the game as we have so many times against the smaller sides, but we're going to do it against the big ones now as well. We're only missing Dimitri Lapin, who was a key player last year, but unfortunately he's just not quite made it for this one, although I'm sure we'll be back for the next game. If we look at our starting 11 though, it's Stevie Maxwell in goal, Cisse and the new signing Lidio are the fullbacks, with Bedger and Leclerc continuing in the middle. We've said it's not going to be long before Recchio breaks into the side, but we've got to leave it with the established partnership for now. We've got the new big money signing Bacanes in holding midfield, one of 2 wonderkids in our midfield 3. Hayes has moved into a Mazzala role purely because Bacanes is now a deep line playmaker, rather than the anchor man that Vladimir was last year. The new Brazilian wonderkid Omar's going to be our advanced playmaker today, just because Lapin's unavailable, and then Kozlan are the wingers with Rutherford up front. No changes there from last last year, as Air was already a big signing for last summer. We've got a number of new signings on the bench as well. Recchio we've already mentioned, Sousa and McGregor the two wingers that we've brought in, Duncan's back on loan after being here the second half of last year, Richard Quirk's back on loan after leaving us at the age of 18, and then Vladimir and the youngster Ray Probert make up the final two places on the bench. Hopefully we'll get the youngster Probert some football. He is still developing quite nicely, he continues to rise in all of his attributes, and he's now got 2-star ability, 4.5 potential, and I really hope he can make it as a Premier League player. But let's get into the match against Liverpool. We'll start with our positive mentality. No tactical changes from last year, aside from some of those roles. Most importantly, it's the fullbacks changing. They're no longer on wing-back duties, they're fullbacks on attack, so we really want them supporting and backing up the wingers, and occasionally looking for the overlap as well. We've got 2 squad numbers to give away. Amar's going to get number 8 and Bacanes number 6. The number 17 he prefers is already gone. It's a bit of a shame really, because Tom Allingham's got that, and if he didn't make his debut till next week, the squad number he wanted would probably be available. But that's not the important bit at the moment. We don't really care about squad numbers. Let's get into the game and see if we can cause a first day shock. It's a 4-3-3 for Liverpool. They're matching our formation there. They've got Theo Hernandez, the young fullback in real life, and Trent Alexander-Arnold on the other side. He's the captain now of Liverpool. No surprises, and we wouldn't be shocked if that was the case in real life in 10 years. Pavard's still there at centre-half. They've got Brewster and João Felix on the wings. Plenty of high-quality real-life youngsters in that side. And then Sandoval we've mentioned in central midfield, one of a number of world-class regens. We've got a few debutants ourselves. Lidio at left-back, Amar in central midfield, and Bacanes in the holding role. And as we mentioned, we've got a potential for 3 more on the bench, but we'll try not to throw them all in at once. We're going to encourage the lads. It's what Stuart Jelling recommends. A couple of the lads are motivated from that, although unfortunately it's not any of the brand new signings, so we're just going to have to see how they react in the game. They're missing a world-class midfielder, but they've replaced him with a £150 million signing, so I'm not going to feel too sorry for them, Mr. Media Man. We want to win every match, but we know Liverpool's going to be a very tough test. Let's get into the first half. It's Liverpool with the kick-off, and Toponi's got it in central midfield. They're just playing it around at the back. Out to the left-hand side for Felix, who loses out to Cisse, and the highlight ends with a few seconds gone. We've held them off comfortably so far. Quiet 20 minutes to start the Premier League season, but it's now Liverpool attacking on the right. Sandoval, the big money signing's got it. Played a 1-2 with his fullback and they're coming forward again. Here's Toponi out to Alexander-Arnold, into Rhian Brewster. Now Toponi again from the edge, beats a man and shoots. It's a good save from Maxwell. According to star rating from our assistant manager, Maxwell the goalkeeper's now the weak link in the squad, but I fail to believe that after the last 2 years, where he's been absolutely sensational, and he's commanded his area again then from the corner. A quarter of the game gone, and although we haven't managed a shot yet, it's certainly not been too threatening from Liverpool. It's a free kick for Rutherford, our first shot of the match with 10 minutes to the break. It's blocked by the keeper and then it's come back out to Hayes. He puts it in the back of the net, but unfortunately he was just offside. It's positive on the keeper for Liverpool. He finds Pavard and now Alexander-Arnold. Very weird 13 years in to still have so many real players in this Liverpool side as they run down the other end and score with Joel. Alexander-Arnold set it up, continuing to show quality out wide, and Joel, the world-class regen forward, puts it in the back of the net with a composed finish. Felix with the delivery to Toponi, had to wait to the edge for Brewster. He's volleyed it in from the edge of the box. There's the difference in quality, and now we're going to go to a balanced mentality and just try and see things out a bit more calmly. We're not going to go for the full time wasting or anything like that, but we just want to make sure it's respectable on the first day. We don't want to lose our morale by losing by 4 or 5. It's a long throw from Cisse in towards Rutherford. Joel's got it away and he's gone long downfield, and we've now got a warning to close him down as well. Liverpool's first goal came straight from our offside finish. Maxwell's lost it, and I spent so long talking up Maxwell at the start, and look at what's happened there. He just controlled it in his box, thought he had all the time in the world, tried to skim Felix, he did him with a Cruyff turn, and unfortunately he lost the ball, and it's now 3-0 at half time. Maybe we do need to replace the keeper next year, and I can see why Stuart Jelling suggested it. At least it means our director of football's good. It's 4-0 4-0 now. What on earth is happening? 10 minutes and 4 goals, and we're going to have to shut up shop now, as these lads have just completely collapsed. I have never seen anything like it from this Torquay side before. A bit of a worrying sign with our new signings, and we hadn't really played that badly. Until 10 minutes ago, there'd only been 3 shots in the game, and it was a comfortable 0-0 scoreline. So I'm certainly not going to overreact, but it's been a pretty disastrous 10 minutes. Stevie Maxwell having a disastrous moment in goal, and the rest of the team not particularly reacting well to conceding. So Liverpool have won the game at half-time. We couldn't have asked for a much worse start to the season. We're going to tell them it was absolutely terrible, and they better react. And if Stevie Maxwell has a poor run of form now, we haven't even got anyone we can bring in. It's Hernan on the right to Cisse. He gets it inside to Baccanes. He's not having a good game either, and Omar's also down to a 6.1 rating. The 2 new signings really struggling in midfield. We're about to reach the hour mark, and there's throwing for Liverpool. Felix losing out to Hernan, who hacks it away. We just keep getting a barrage of warnings to close people down. It's not making any difference to the game, but we've got to remember a bit of perspective here. Liverpool have spent 150 million on a player, over double what we've spent on our entire squad. Sandoval, the man's got it on the edge of the box now, and he gets it to Mendes and wide to Hernandez. Hernandez to deliver from the left into Brewster. It's 5-0 and we can't stop the rot. We're going to make some changes to shore things up, but it's too little too late, as we're falling to what is by far our heaviest Premier League defeat in the first game of the 3rd season. We're going to bring Vladimir on for Baccanes. Omar's going to be replaced by the youngster Ray Probert. We want to give him a chance to get some football, and there's no real pressure on him today. We'll go back to last season's rules, a deep line playmaker on support, and we're also going to go back to an anchor man, just because we can't have this being 6 or 7. We've also got Tala Cisse on a yellow card, so Richard Quirk's going to come on for his second debut, and we'll get back into it for the last half an hour to try and finally stop Liverpool scoring. It's Liverpool again on the ball with Toponi in midfield. He finds Sandoval and now Joel, shoots from the edge, it's tipped wide by Maxwell, even though the ball was already going wide. He's made a good save according to the commentary, but his rating's still only 5.8. That shows how bad he's been generally, and how bad that mistake was to let Felix score. Toponi gets it wide to Sandoval. He's going to deliver, but it's blocked for a throw. Liverpool continuing to dominate, as we've only managed 1 shot on target all game. It's quite a funny game. The first half an hour was comfortable. We looked like taking the lead, as it was just offside when Hayes scored with 33 gone, and then in the 10 minutes after that it all fell apart. 4 goals conceded before half time, and aside from that it's not been the worst performance in the world. It has shown us we're not ready to control games against the big sides, so we will have to take off the positive mentality next time, as Hernan shoots from the edge of the box, but it's deflected away for a throw-in off the defender. 10 minutes to go, Liverpool still lead 5-0, by far our heaviest Premier League defeat. It's a corner for Liverpool, just 2 minutes to go. I recognise that name, Under on attacking midfield taking the corner for them. He's been an absolute stalwart against us in the head coach the other series. When we were at Newcastle and he was at Tottenham, he seemed to cause trouble for us all the time, and he's doing so with his corner delivery again in this one, but Stevie Maxwell makes the save in the end, after a day that he'd really like to forget overall. Just 2 minutes of stoppage time, the ref wants to put us out of our misery. All of the Liverpool starters with a rating above an 8, and Lee Rutherford gets a chance there. His shot saved by the keeper from the free kick. It's a bit of a shame he didn't score till December last season. If we at least could have got him off the mark, the game would have been worth playing. But a 5-0 defeat, and it was because of a crazy 10 minutes. I've never seen any of my Torquay sides collapse like that in this series, so a little bit of a worry for the season ahead. Stuart Jelling wanted us to tell him it was a good effort. I blindly went along with it without reading. If I had, I certainly wouldn't have gone for that. Why he's praising a 5-0 defeat, I don't know. I guess the one thing I would say out of this game is, bar that 10 minutes, we competed pretty evenly, and it would have just been a 1-0 defeat. It was just a crazy 10 minutes at the office. But we have got some thinking to do ahead of our next couple of games. We've got a home match against Bournemouth, who have been finishing in the top half every year. This is one we've really got to try and get something out of, otherwise it's going to be a long, hard start to the season. There's not much more that needs to be said about the match. Guardiola's obviously praising his players. A couple of debutants today. Baccanes and Omar, the 2 wonder kids, among the worst performers on the pitch, but we probably expect that against a top class side. We'll deal with the press conference off camera. In fact, we'll go and have a look at it now, as I'm sure we're going to get absolutely slated. We weren't as bad as the scoreline reflects, we just had a mad 10 moments. We're going to have to do better and work harder. We'll get to work on the training ground on our defensive shape. The officials, we can't really blame for it. I don't know why they're trying to get us in trouble there. Even if they have had a poor game and made a mistake or two, it's not going to have affected the result on this occasion, so there's no point point risking a fine or touchline ban for it. He'll have better games here and there. He wasn't at his best today. Lydio had a poor debut, but all of our outfield players were poor. The referee's decision was right, let's just go along with that, and we're not going to comment on the rest of the refereeing questions. This media journalist is just trying to get us in trouble now. We're still being asked about the referee's performance. They're now asking about technology. Obviously we won't get this question in FM20, as VAR's been agreed for the Premier League in real life, so that'll be in place on Football Manager next year. If we go to the schedule to see where that leaves us and what sort of games we've got coming up, you can see in September we've got more tricky games. Manchester City and Tottenham are our 2 away games, before Chelsea are home at the start of October, so either the Tottenham or Chelsea game we'll be back for next. I think we'll probably do the home one this time, as we've at least got a chance of sneaking a result there. So we'll play through to the start of October, and we'll play that Chelsea game just before the second international break. We're obviously bottom of the table after that first match day, as we've got a goal difference of -5, though there are a few sides that haven't played yet, so hopefully one of those will lose by 6. But if you did enjoy this episode and that wretched first day of the season, please do put a thumbs up on the video, even if it is just to celebrate my misery in a 5-0 defeat. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the performance of the new signings. Probably not the best game to judge them on, but it is the first the Torquay fans will have seen of them, so I'm sure they'll make their own judgments based on that. They are all youngsters, we have got to remember that. Bakanez 20, Omar 19, and the fullback's only about 22, so we have got to be careful of that. Maybe it's just dotting in experience for certain big games like this one, and playing for a 1 or 2-0 defeat like we did last year, and then when we're at home against the lower ranked sides, and we're going to get a chance to get on the ball, that's when the youngsters can come into the team. As always for the start of the season, let me know down in the comments where you think we're going to finish as well. Obviously that first game would suggest we're going to struggle, but I don't think we're going to be in relegation trouble again. I guess it just depends on how quickly Rutherford starts scoring. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories. This one with Torquay United, and in our Journeyman series The Head Coach, we've just started a new season in that one as well, and we had a big job offer and a change of scenery as well, so do go over and check out our new club to see where we're managing at the moment. There's also 3 videos a week from Cricket 19, the official game of the Ashes, as well as weekly content from my Snooker 19 career. That one's every Friday at 4:30. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for a slightly better performance as we play another big game in the Premier League.